Amber Hansen has the equipped bench press world record at 615 pounds. How the fuck did you bench press 615 pounds?
I don't know.
Well, let's
prayer.
Let's start from the beginning. So
yeah,
we tried doing this before. We had a bad connection, so we redid it. So I know a little bit about her background, but so explain how you made the transition into powerlifting, and from when you made the transition to powerlifting, how you became an elite powerlifter.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I did sports growing up. Did figure skating as a kid competitively, then transitioned into some track and field. I did some pole vault and some high jump there and a little bit of throwing. And then found roller derby when I was out in New Mexico, and I played for the West Texas team.
Who I interviewed.
Yeah.
Small world.
Craziness.
Yeah.
And then roller derby, I wanted to get stronger because if you're stronger, it's easier to push people around. And that was one of my favorite things to do. So I'm like, I should probably do some squats and some deadlifts. Yeah. And I started doing that and moved to Ohio and didn't really find any teams out there that I could commit to. So I found a barbell club instead and found my coach, and the rest is history.
Well, how did you wind up? Because now you're in Pennsylvania, right?
I am in Northern Virginia.
Oh, where is Jimmy Cobb from? Because you train with him, don't you?
Mm-hmm. So he's also in Northern Virginia. He's from Ohio.
Why did I think he was in Pennsylvania?
Because that's where he got his 1320 at York.
Okay. That's
what I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's funny that you are the bench press record holder, and he's also the bench press record holder in men's. And he obviously everybody knows he's benched 1320. The numbers are insane though. Like the breaking of the records are just. Did you hear that the strict curl world record was broken again today? Like today or over the weekend?
Today?
Yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Oh my God.
And
that's crazy.
It was broken by Leroy Walker. And then broken. It's just records are being broken. So Leroy Walker curled 240 something. Before that, it was Dennis Carrill. Before that, it was CT Fletcher. And now it's this other Eastern European guy, and he curled like 250 something. I'm like, dear God, man. But it's not like
they're meant to be broken.
Yeah, but it's like how it works, right? Your back is against the wall and you can't move. You could just use your biceps, And I'm like, that's crazy. But now back to bench pressing. Yeah, it really is. Is that your favorite movement, or do you actually do better in other movements?
I'm a squatter through and through.
Really?
Like that was my first baby. I've always loved to squat. I just actually, I don't want to say figured out how to bench press because I've never been a bad bench presser. But once I got out here, started training with Jimmy, he's a technician in the equipment that we use, whether it's single ply polyester or the band shirts, and working with him kind of helped me find that groove and figure out what worked best for me. And like the confidence of just being able to train with someone. Like I know nothing's going to happen to me when I lay down under that bar. So I'm going to try things I would have not normally tried. Right.
Yeah. Once you have confidence in your spotter, it makes a hell of a lot better. You know how many times I'm in the gym and I'm not nearly as strong as you guys. I mean, now at 45 years old, I train to just stay in shape, but I still like to go heavy. You know how many, it's so funny, like how the young generation, like does not know how to spot, and it blows me away. It's like, how, and it's because they're in retro or New York Sports Club.
Or they're like solo lifters. We have a really cool thing going on in the powerlifting community called the Full Send Initiative. And it's a group of really experienced spotters and loaders that like go and do seminars and make videos on how to properly spot someone.
Oh, that's good. That's
freaking cool.
Yeah, that's good. Because there are plenty of times where I'm like, I'm not doing the weight that you guys are doing. But there's plenty of times where I'm, and as soon as the guy starts spotting me, I'm like, dude, you don't know how to spot, so,
I'd rather just dump it at, then only one of us gets hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
So you break the world record at 6:15. Did you hear from Katrina? Katrina Bielamiza, right? Is that how you spell it?
Mm-hmm.
Did she contact you and congratulate you, or did she say, "I'm coming for you"?
No. We're so as small as powerlifting is, the female, like the top level female bench pressers, it's an even smaller community. So we all know each other. I mean, I'm on the same sponsored team as Ray Ann Miller, Emma, like all of those big names. So we know each other. And it was a congratulatory thing. And then we all know that records are meant to be broken. So, and it wasn't like Jimmy's. I didn't break it by hundreds of pounds.
No, you broke it. You were more like Bill Gillespie.
I just chipped it. That was my first time in that shirt as well. And I hadn't really used it too much, but things were going good. I'm like, I might as well take a crack at it. And so I don't think it'll be around for a while.
But that's what she said, actually, when I interviewed her. Is that the same shirt that she used?
I'm not sure.
Because she was I don't remember the shirt that she was talking about, but she loved the shirt so much. She said, wait till other people get their hands on it. You're going to see the record's going to get broken.
Yes.
What is the difference?
So I think she was probably talking about her Pharrell F8. And that's the band shirt that comes in multiple plies. So it's basically a piece of elastic, like knee wrap. If you think of a knee wrap type material, very thick, and goes across your chest and wraps around you in a shirt and gives you that, stretch reflex basically to help you. But on the way down, it's very sketchy because you're handling like for perspective, my raw bench press with nothing on, just pair of wrist wraps is 330. In a multiply shirt, which is fabric, like multiple layers of just fabric, it's 450 right now. And then in that band shirt, it's 615. So
what do you say?
Quite the array.
Yeah. What do you say to people? Obviously, the majority of people that are into powerlifting. This is not my opinion. I'm just giving you, I'm just not my opinion, just telling you what people do say. And I've heard, I'm confident you've heard this before.
I'm sure I have.
Yeah. What do you say to people when they go, oh, see, it's the shirt, it's the equipment. What's the point? Why don't you just do it raw?
Yeah. Well, I tell them to look me up on Open Powerlifting because all my raw numbers are there too. And I'm pretty high up on that list.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's not the case for everyone, because a lot of times they'll be like, well, what are your raw numbers? Well, some people don't compete raw because they don't want to, they don't like it.
Right.
And powerlifting is so unique that there's so many different like ways you can cut that pie. And people can just compete how they want to compete. Maybe some people are too broken to do the raw side of things and they need a little extra support.
Well, that's Mendelson. I had him on too.
Yeah. Oh, Mendy's cool.
Yeah, and he said the same thing that Scott Mendelson. I mean, not the, and he said the same thing.
Shauna.
Not Shauna. I've had her on too, but not. It's. I guess I'm getting pretty popular.
I know you talked to all my buds.
Yeah, really. But Scott Mendelson said, yeah, he can't do raw anymore because of a chest injury that he had, and he can only do equipped. Now, good. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to it's very misunderstood.
Right.
And it's very like, you get the trolls out there who are like, well, I could do that too with the forklift under my shirt. And I was like, okay, well, here's a shirt. You want to try it? Like, I'll help you. We'll see what happens.
You know what he dies,
he dies.
Yeah. You know what how I look at it, because that is not my opinion. My look at it is it's two completely different sports or two completely different movements. 100%. I look at it as I always grew up. I was a huge boxing fan. I don't know if you can see. I have a picture of me and Muhammad Ali there.
That's awesome. I can see that. I was trying to scope out the background. That's pretty cool.
Boxing gloves.
Oh wow!
And I got a bunch of other stuff. But anyway,
wow.
When UFC came along, especially a few years back when boxing was still relevant, a lot of people were comparing the two. Oh, Floyd could never be in the UFC, and so on
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. And it's like, yeah, I know it's two completely different animals. It's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even, it should not even be a conversation. And
Yep.
that's how I consider raw versus equipped. It's two different things. Like it shouldn't
Totally
be,
agree.
and that's why there's two different records and two different,
Mm-hmm.
federations and so on and so forth. But,
Yeah. A
there's
lot of
always,
us, oh, sorry.
no, 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 go right ahead.
Like with that analogy, we try and use things like that too. And one of my favorite ones to describe the difference between equipped lifting and raw lifting is pole vault versus high jump, which is fun because I've done both of those and it's still jumping. You're still
Mm-hmm.
lifting weights, but one, you're using a pole to jump higher, which is the equipment.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good one. I'm going to start using
Mhm.
that one.
Yeah, I didn't make that one up. I've heard it, like it's been passed down through all, because
Yeah.
we have to explain this stuff all the time to people.
Right.
So we
Right.
get
Right.
used to it.
So, were you always a fan of weight training? Was there people that you idolized, or is it something that you just kind of got into because of roller derby and, oh, wow, I'm really good at it, and learned who the people are on the way there?
Yeah, so I've never been like, there were like bodybuilders that I idolized and thought were really cool, but I didn't really know the difference between bodybuilding and strength sports.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was actually a power lifter. He competed in like the late 90s, early 2000s. So that was cool. He would, drag me along to his meets and I would sit there bored as hell for like an entire day because I was a child at a powerlifting meet.
Yeah. Right.
But he lifted throughout, when I was in high school and everything, and he'd drag me along to the weight room, and I hated every second of it because
Mm-hmm.
dad was making me do it.
Yeah.
And lo and
Yeah.
behold, I wish I actually, tried a little harder back then because
Is
I could have maybe had some more years.
your dad still alive?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, what was his reaction when you broke the world record?
Oh, he was stoked.
Yeah, I could imagine.
He is so stoked. Every meet that I have, he tries to get to.
He's your biggest fan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. I love hearing stories like that because I hear horror stories when it comes to parents and kids and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So when I hear stories like that, I love it because it just reminds me of, what a family should be.
Yeah, I definitely got lucky there with him. And especially being like a young lady too, who wanted to be big and strong, mm-hmm. and having him say, yeah, it's cool to be big and strong. Doesn't matter. Like, go do what you want to do. And he's like, I'll spot you. I'm like, thanks, Dad. Let's go.
It is cool to be big and strong. And it is. And I've had plenty of women athletes on my show, and I've had plenty of powerlifting women. I've had plenty of arm wrestling women. I've had plenty of bodybuilding women. And it's because, again, I don't understand why, but it's because I was a fan of powerlifting. I was a fan of bodybuilding, whether you were a girl or a guy.
Yeah.
So,
strengths for everyone.
Yeah. People are like, oh, it's not feminine. No, nobody said it has to. Nobody's putting a gun to these girls' heads that,
right.
They want to do it. They should let them be doing it. And not for nothing, there are plenty of women who are feminine and look feminine and are beautiful and do these things, so I don't know. It just drives me crazy when people are kind of limited like that, but whatever.
Yeah.
You just prove them wrong by doing what you do and becoming an elite lifter and going, see, I'm the best there is though. So what is in the future for you now? What are you going to continue to try and break your own record? Or do you think there's other people on the rise that are going to do it before you again?
I don't know. So we just recently had the WPO bench bash that I was on the roster for, and Jimmy competed at that. I don't know if it was last weekend or the weekend before. It was very recently. Mm-hmm. I was on the roster for that. I pulled out because I have a full power meet coming up this next weekend in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to put those two that close together. But I got invited to Rita West's bench invitational in September. Mm-hmm. So that meet that I did 615 at, I missed it the first two times and got it on the third one. 615 was the opener. We were looking to end somewhere much higher than that. So I want to go to Rita's meet and just demolish that number. So that's the plan.
Okay, good. Now,
Yeah.
did you answer the question? Who did you idolize, or am I just having a brain fart?
I don't think I did name wise, but
Okay.
like Laura Phelps, I mean Rita,
Of course.
obviously.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, just a lot of the Jill Mills is another one. Incredible human being and lifter. Becca Swanson's accomplishments. I'm trying to think of who I looked up to when I was first coming into it, because I didn't know a whole lot of women. Like now I can rattle off like my peers who I still idolize and look up to.
Sure.
But yeah, I think one of the biggest ones was Laura Phelps once I figured out what powerlifting was. And then before that, once I was kind of looking at bodybuilders, I was really thought Dalen Bailey was very cool. And
everybody liked her back in the day, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's it? Cami Leal. Not sure if you know who that is.
No, I don't know that one.
She was another one. She's actually my nutrition coach now, which is crazy because she was really one of the first ones I looked up to. So yeah.
Well, I'm a fan of the people that come on my show. And if you don't come on my show, then I'm not a fan of you. That's how it works.
That's fair.
And as a matter of fact, I have my own ranking system, actually.
Okay.
And what's funny is that it's my ranking system, but the only accurate correlation is in women's powerlifting. So what I mean by that is if you're the first person that comes on my show and you break through a genre, like the first genre, the first person, you are obviously the number one person on the planet. That's just how it works. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then the second person, third person, obviously number 2, number 3, number 4. And the only thing that's accurate, the only time that's actually accurate in actual statistics is Rita West, because she was the first powerlifting woman in my
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But it lined up that way.
Yeah, but every other genre, bodybuilding, powerlifting, so on and so forth,
all over the place.
Bodybuilding, arm wrestling, the first person is never. And then when I do get to like one of the best, I tell them, I have my own ranking system. So I'm like,
and then they're like, wait, where am I at? Because we all care about where we're ranked.
Yeah, like Paul Lynn is the first arm wrestler I ever had on, so he's clearly number 1 in the world. Then I had Michael Todd. You know who he is?
No, I'm not familiar with him.
They call him Monster Michael Todd. He's legitimately like one of the top like 3, 4 in the world, right?
Dang.
And so I told him, and he's like, "Yeah, I really would like to argue that. Paul is not."
It's like, I agree to disagree. Okay?
Yeah, no, he was pretty cool though. It was actually pretty cool. I was shocked.
Awesome.
I was shocked that he actually came on. Okay, so is this the first world record that you actually broke?
Yep, this is the one, which is crazy. I never thought it would be a bench record.
Yeah, because you said you were a great squatter. So I think does Leah still have the world record for squatting? Yeah,
Leah has the all-time world record, regardless of weight class, for squat with a 925, I believe. And have you talked to her?
Yeah,
you should talk to her.
I've had her on.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How did I not know this? Her and I own a freaking company together.
Really? What company is that?
So myself, Leah Reichman, Allison Hind, and Tara Duncan put together the Main Event Project. And it's a nonprofit that we raise money for to put money into prize pots for women's only meets, to sponsor female lifters, to kind of lessen that gap disparity that is not there a lot anymore, but it's still there in certain corners of powerlifting, and kind of bring awareness to that.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
The sport needs people like that, because I truly, there's not many like kids today. They go to, whether guy or girl, they go to a retro, they go to a New York Sports Club, they go to an LA Fitness. They don't go to that corner gym anymore where you either had powerlifting or bodybuilding. So some of the young kids that can be really good, they're not even introduced to it, Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I actually saw this really young kid. He was in high school. And because I'm like the OG in the gym now. I mean, right? Because I'm 45, And I had this young kid. He was like maybe 17 or 18, and he was repping out like 315. And I'm like, dude, like, you should really consider powerlifting. Like, go Google a powerlifting gym, because if somebody teaches you, you could be really good, And he's like, oh yeah, maybe, but it's just, they don't even know what it is,
Right.
So, people like you make it great when you can give it more attention.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Bring more people in.
Oh, it's necessary. That's okay. As far as I'm concerned, it is necessary for powerlifting, not so much bodybuilding. Everybody knows what bodybuilding is.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Powerlifting and arm wrestling. It needs more attention, and the camaraderie is better in powerlifting and arm wrestling versus bodybuilding.
Oh yeah, the camaraderie of powerlifting. 10 out of 10.
It's not even a discussion. As much as I was a lover of bodybuilding and I've competed, you could see the trophies in the back. It is such a selfish sport that the majority of people are fake.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Now don't get me wrong. You have a lot of really good people. There are a lot of people that I asked to interview and come on my podcast, and I'm a nobody, and they've been on, no problem. You got it. And then I've had people that were like, well, how much are you going to pay me? And that was only bodybuilders.
Ugh,
yeah. That only came from bodybuilders. And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. People are trying to make a living this way, but I guess I don't think you'd ever hear that from a power lifter.
Right.
Because there's not a professional version of what we like. There are people who will get paid money at meets, but I don't think that's the same thing as making a salary year to year to call yourself, this is what I lift weights or I power lift for a living.
So what were your best numbers in squatting and deadlift?
So in equipment, my best squat multiply is 766.
Wow, that's still damn good.
And that was at 198. And then my deadlift was 560 at 198.
That's still damn good. Now, Leah, in your defense, Leah is a much bigger woman. She's over 300 pounds, right? So that, comparatively, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, that's kind of why. Well, it's not kind of why. That's exactly why, like, the coefficients exist to try and even out those playing fields a little more. And also, one of the things we did as main event project is we were like, what do you mean women's weight classes stop at 198? And if you're 199 pounds, you're in the same class as anyone else above that. So we petitioned, we got a bunch of signatures, and we were like, hey, every single federation either increase their classes to mirror the men's weight classes, or they've added a 220 and a 242. So we got some more there.
Yeah. I mean, that's 100-pound difference. That you have to make it fair. And the only two ways you can make it fair is gender and weight. That's it. That's the only ways you make it fair. You want to make it fair as possible, because obviously, Leah could squat more than somebody who weighs 150 pounds. It just doesn't make any sense.
It also always comes back to, like, I don't know if you're familiar with, like, the big dogs meets. I don't know when the last ones that those happen, but all of the meets nowadays are coefficient based. So if people are trying to win the meets, they're trying to win that top number, pound for pound coefficient to even it out against everyone. But if you don't care about, like, some people just care about getting the biggest, nastiest total they possibly can. I'm one of those people. I like winning meets and I like doing well, but I also want big numbers regardless of what my weight is that day.
So I'm going to ask you a question I've asked every powerlifter. What were your most severe injuries, or have you had any severe injuries?
I'm about to knock on some wood right now because I've had lots of little tweaks. I haven't had any catastrophic ones like a knee or a shoulder or anything like that. I've had some partial, like, pec minor tears. I've had some ribs out. I've had like hairline fractures in my forearms and hands, feet, and like lower back issues, some SI stuff, but nothing that I wasn't able to recover from in like under a few weeks.
Okay, well that's good. That's definitely a
Yeah.
good thing because some of them, especially in powerlifting, some of the injuries are
Yeah.
it's really bad.
Yeah.
Especially
I
squatting.
think, yeah, for sure. I think my training philosophy that my coach has me go through, that I think that plays a lot into how I've been able to like stay relatively injury free, because I bounce back and forth from equip lifting to raw lifting to Highland Games to, and I have like true off seasons to recover, and I don't ever stay in one specific thing and get hammered with it over and over and over again to the point of injury. I think that's helpful.
Obviously, because there's a lot of injuries in powerlifting, and if you're able to escape them as an elite lifter, you're very lucky. So
I need to knock on wood again.
Yeah, really. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I got a contest this weekend.
Hopefully I don't jinx you. Yeah, exactly.
You're good.
So how tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
Okay. And your normal weight is 198, or do you have to diet down, or do you have to put weight on?
I used to cut to 198, but now that there's a 220 class, I walk around at like 210.
Okay. All right. 5'4" and 210. So you're a heavily muscular girl. So you're basically perfect for this sport physically.
Thankfully. Yeah. I got the good genetics behind it. I got the muscle mass, and the leverages are pretty nice too.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this today actually, because they had a opposing seminar and in the gym that I go to in Jersey, and I'm watching it because my friend was doing it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, should anybody tell some of these people that they shouldn't be doing this? Because this is just some of them was just wishful thinking. It's like they have nothing. I don't know who told them to go out there. Have you ever run into that? Like somebody that wants to pick your brain, and they're like, yeah, I want to be a power lifter. And it's like,
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that like total Heisman moment, because power, I guess it depends on what they want to do. Someone came up to me and was like, hey, I want you to coach me. I want to be the best in the world. And then I see how they move and see all the different things behind it or what they look like. And sometimes you just got to have a hard conversation with people if they, it just depends.
Yeah. And it's not, you don't want people wasting their time in life, because you could, powerlifting, you still have to work. So it's not it's not like, but
there's a lot of people that want to do it for a hobby too, which is totally
that's fine. That's completely different. Yeah.
Go get strong, not compete. They just enjoy doing it. That's totally different.
Or if you want to jump in to an amateur meet and see how you do it. Yeah. For shits and giggles, go right ahead.
For sure. Yeah.
So what is
lots of opportunities for everyone to do it.
There's no question. I had a friend in the gym that was like that, and for him, deadlifting 300 pounds was amazing. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to go and do a, and he was just happy with like his total and what he deadlifted. He didn't,
that rocks.
Yeah. So it was just like, he knew, where he stood, but there are people that, like you said, that just like, oh, I want to be the greatest. And it's like, you got a long way to go, my friend.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, we could get you far with like hard work and all of like, if you have to do everything perfectly. But sometimes, I don't know, like it happens a lot if you're a really good squatter, or if you're a really good deadlifter, say deadlift specialist with the long arms and the legs and the short torso and all of that. The deadlift might be beautiful, really good, all-time world record material, but then your squat and your bench
just blow,
suffer from it. So it's hard to like put it all together.
Well, genetics plays a big part. I mean, Jimmy Cobb is only 5'5", and he's got arms like a T-Rex, which is why he is so able to lock out, and his bench is 1320. And like you said, the Mountain, who has the world record deadlift, he's fucking, what is he, 6'9", and of course he's got those crazy long arms.
Big dude.
It only makes sense, right?
Yep.
What is it that you do for a living?
I'm in the military, so I'm active duty Air Force.
Oh, well, if I was able to shake your hand, I would. Thank
Oh,
you very
you know,
much. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's
I
amazing.
appreciate it.
You're very
Yeah.
welcome, and you're very humble about it too. That's great.
Yeah. It's been in for, it'll be 11 years in May. So,
Wow. What made you do that as a career?
so my dad was in the Marine Corps and I knew I wanted to be in the military.
Your dad was a
Um,
really a big inspiration for you, huh?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dad was in the Corps. I knew I wanted to go in the military. He refused to let me go into the Marine Corps, so I chose Air Force.
Oh, why did you refuse to go in the
He
Marine
was
Corps?
like, "No, that's not for you." And I'm
Yeah.
glad I went with the Air Force because they've taken very good care of me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And have you
Yeah.
actually, do you actually fly, or do you actually, there's some other
Mm-mm.
facets? I'm sure there's plenty of other facets that you can
Yeah,
get into, you know?
lots and lots of jobs. I do a lot of like more on like the managerial leadership side and like career development, management, and a lot of desk work right now. I'm an executive officer. Um,
Hmm.
so kind of like a glorified secretary, but with more things to do. I'm actually getting ready to move to go teach ROTC in Ohio. So that'll
That
be the next.
that's fantastic. You're a very honorable person. There's, you know,
Oh,
there's honor in that. And
I
I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I
don't
mean,
know if I
there's
could go that far.
yeah, well, there's a lot of honor in picking that as a career, you know, and I'm not just lying to you. That is the God's honest truth. Anybody who I speak to that is a career in the military, I always, you know, thank and, you know, shake the hand and so on and so forth. So it is very,
Appreciate you.
very admirable. So what's it like working out with Jimmy Cobb?
It's a blast. That's my buddy.
Yeah. Do you ever tell him? Because I saw a couple of videos on Instagram. Do you ever tell him, listen, Jimmy, I love working out with you, but please try not to let your stomach hit me in the face.
I don't think we've ever had that issue,
Really?
thankfully. Yeah. And like when I'm laying down to do a bench press, I am not like I have tunnel vision so hard I
Good.
wouldn't have even noticed if it did.
Because I was showing my wife, I'm like, look, this is the girl that I'm interviewing. And she's like, why is he naked? And I'm like, he's not naked. He just has his shirt off.
It's hot in there.
He says, no, it's not. He's not naked. He just has no shirt on.
Butt naked in the gym doing bench handoffs.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, keep looking, you know, it's not.
Yeah.
But have you had the honor of working out with any other great lifters, like the legends, like the Scott Mendelsons, or even Shauna Mendelson, or anybody else like that? Ryan Kelly, Ryan Kennedy,
Kennelly.
right? Kennelly. I'm sorry, Ryan Kennelly.
Mm-hmm. So I haven't. I know Shauna. We've met a few times. She is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I've trained at the sweatshop with Laura and the sweatshop ladies and gentlemen over there. Laura Phelps. I have trained. I've gone down to South Carolina and got to train with Donnie Thompson and those guys at his storage shed gym.
Have you ever did you have the chance to meet or work out at Louis Simmons' gym before he passed?
So I've met Louis 3 times, I believe, and my coach that I've been with since 2015 was he was a West Side lifter for a handful of years.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that kind of mentality and culture ingrained, passed down through just by proxy and mentorship. Mm-hmm. So that was his coach. Marcus is now my coach. I am now other people's coaches. It's that lineage of philosophy that gets peppered in through things. But I've gotten to meet Louis a few times, and it was an experience for sure.
Yeah, I obviously never had the privilege or an honor of meeting him. Obviously, I only saw videos and documentaries, but he's a tremendous person, especially a tremendous person in the in your world. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Died never.
Yeah. Okay, one more question, and I'm going to let you go.
Oh, okay.
If you had to, you said you're going to do another in September. You're looking to break the world record at Reed is show, right? Okay, that's what you said. Okay.
Yeah.
If somebody gets to it before you, who do you think it's going to be? Who do you have your eye on? Like, I'm going, this girl's, she's going to get to it before me.
I think it'd be Rayanne, actually, Rayanne Miller.
Miller,
I think Katrina could probably jump in and just like do something and hit it. It could be Katrina, it could be Rayanne. There are other women. So now that these shirts are becoming more and more popular, more women are getting into them. And we're seeing like Allison Hind is a perfect example. Bench technician, has multiple all-time world records in 165 and 148 in the bench press and totals and everything. And I think she's going to put, or wants to put, one of those shirts on. And we're going to start seeing like these people who are exceptional at the top already in either multiply or raw start dabbling in this new area of unlimited shirts. And it's just going to keep going up and up and up. And that's kind of how it goes, especially on the female side of things. Because once 600 was broken, that showed us, okay, yeah, 600 is possible. We can all do that. We can get to that next thing. I mean, 315 raw is the new 225, as was 225 was the new 135 years ago for women. And the same thing with men too.
Yeah.
So we're just continuing to kind of push that envelope and creep it closer up. Like Leah, 900-pound squat.
Yeah. Does anybody even come close to that yet?
No.
Yeah, some people demolish it and hold on to it for a few years. Like Rita had it for 8 or 10 years, the squat at 148. And then every once in a while, like you said, and there are people that kind of chip at it, like you did. Like, okay, I broke it by 3 pounds, but I'm still the champ, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Athletes, generally speaking, I don't have to tell you, you're an athlete, get better and better with every generation, with some exceptions. There's very rare exceptions, like the Muhammad Ali's or the Michael Jordans, the Babe Ruths. But generally speaking, they get better and better and better with every generation. And it's always the same. It's always how you train and the diet and the equipment and so on and so forth. It just evolves. It just gets better and better and better.
Yeah.
Because one of my pet peeves is like when an old generation says this generation ain't shit. When it comes to athletics, other things I agree with them on.
It depends. Like the environment and the scenario is totally different. We have things that people didn't have. I mean, if you really want to go back before Raw was even a thing, you were laughed at if you showed up to a contest as a Raw lifter.
No, absolutely.
And now the tables have turned a little bit. Now it's making a little bit more of a resurgence. That's why I like to do both, so that I can speak both languages and have buddies on the Raw side and explain equipment to them and vice versa.
Oh, okay. So one last question. I'm going to let you go.
I got you. What's up?
And then we're done. Okay.
You're fine.
Okay. What kind of dogs do you have?
I have 2 French bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 little hamsters.
All right. Okay. What are their names?
Darwin is the one full Frenchie, and then Mr. Mike Bigham is the other one. Name. Yeah, I just call him Bigham.
Yeah, Bigham. That's a cute name.
He's half Frenchie, half Boston Terrier, so he's a little more streamlined and sleeker than Darwin, who's just a mini tank.
Did you study science in school? Is that why you call him Darwin? Why did you name him Darwin?
That's the irony behind it. So French bulldogs have a hard time reproducing on their own.
Okay.
So Darwin would not have even existed, his breed, as far as natural selection goes. So.
That makes you see you're strong, beautiful, and smart. Holy shit! Wow. And you're a patriot. You're like,
I'm just a goober.
A goober? What the hell is that?
Yeah, like it's just a
goober. A goober to me is a
dork nerd
peanut.
Oh yeah. I should be careful with that then, because people are gonna think they're like, Candy? I don't know.
Yeah, I never heard of that before. But there's all, I'm old, so there's all different words going on.
I think it might be a Midwest thing. That's where I'm from. We got all kinds of weird
Okay.
Ohio corn words.
You're getting old when you got to scratch your head and some young kid says something to you and you go, oh, like one quick story, and then I'll let you go. This when the phrase "what's good" first came out.
Yeah.
The Spanish kid is walking out of the gym. He's young. He's like 19. I was already in my like early 30s. I was like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" He goes, "What's good?" So I stopped because I actually thought he was going to tell me something that happened good to him.
Oh.
And then I realized, oh, he means, "How you doing?"
Gotcha. Yeah, I would have been like, "What's good? Like food around here?"
Yeah,
or what?
yeah.
I'm gonna have to learn a lot of that stuff if I'm going to teach college kids. So I
Oh
better
wow, yeah, you're
get on
right.
the tic tac and
Yeah,
brush up.
yeah. Tell me about it, Amber. Thank you very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
It was a pleasure, and nothing but the best. And I have tremendous respect for you, and much love. I really, really appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. All right. Have a good night.
You too.